Welcome back to Welcome Farms, guys. I've got something different today. We're going to become technicians, networking technicians to be exact. I am definitely not an expert, but I've done a few things over the years that have gotten us high-speed internet. So if you've ever have a place out there that doesn't have high-speed internet, now with Starlink, it's changed things quite a bit, but we have access to fiber. Problem is, it's just not here in this yard. It's 2 miles away. So how do you get it to this yard? The other problem is we don't have line of sight to anything because we live in kind of a low spot here. So I'm going to be changing things up. We're going to be upgrading the system. And we're going to be setting up this farm with a new network that'll be hopefully able to take fiber speeds. Because right now we're limited at about 100 megabit is what our connection is able to get. And I want to get that up to 200 because that's what our service is right now. So now talk a little about our yard here. We've got a home over there, my parents. My home currently, I'm going to be out of there soon as we're building a house, and that place is going to get mothballed. We don't know what the future is of it yet, but with that said, it's got internet too. I have a sister over there in that place. That's got internet too. Then way over there is Legarm's new house. He's got internet. And then way up on the hill up there is my new house. That doesn't have internet, but it's going to get it. And how we're doing all this is Ubiquiti nano beams. We're doing point-to-point connections. So there's one here, and this one's talking to one on a rooftop way over there. You can barely see it, about 1.5 miles away. And those two have a link, and like I said earlier, then there's another link that goes from there to what we have as our pump house for water, where our fiber connection takes place. Then it comes into the shop, and it branches off on corners of the shop, and I'll show you right here. This one takes it and sends it all the way over to Legarm's house. So that provides connection from there to here. And then this one sends it all the way over to my parents' house. And that's the connection there. And then this one right here is an older nano beam, and that takes it over to my current house and my sister's house. And it's all one giant network. So the plan, instead of pulling internet from that one, which goes to the other farmyard that we don't own and the pump house, is to take it directly from the pump house all the way to my new house with air fibers, air fiber 60s to be exact, and then from air fiber there to the shop, and then from the shop we'll then branch off to all the buildings. Does that make sense? Let's get to it. So here's our lovely pump house. This is where we get our water. There is a pumper that takes water to the farm, but we don't get the volume and the pressure at the farm, so we actually bring the truck here and fill up when we're doing high volumes of water, like spraying. That's where the water comes from, obviously. And the fiber is right across the road over there, which supplies the AT&T and Verizon cell towers right here. So a while back, when we didn't have access to Starlink and we didn't have any other means to get internet, we burrowed under the county road here with our own homemade burrowing machine and pulled fiber from there and had them connect it up into the pump house where we've got our modem, and then a nano beam right there, which then takes it over to a farmyard just over the hill over there, which then takes it from the rooftop of that building over to our main farmyard. But we're going to change that up, like I said earlier, by putting in a pole here. I'm going to use a digger derrick. I'm going to drill a hole, take this old power pole, cut it off to the length I want, and then from there it'll be tall enough where you'll just see the top of my garage of the new house being built over there. And that'll give you the line of sight, because with these kind of connections you got to have line of sight. It's a point-to-point connection. They got to be looking at each other, and any obstructions in the way is going to either reduce your signal or completely eliminate it, and we don't want that. Let's go get the truck, let's dig a hole, let's see if we can pick this pole up and drop it in the hole and bury it, and then I'll rig up some brackets to attach the air fiber 60 to the top of this, get it roughly pointed at my house down there, and then go to the house and repeat the process and get this link established. This is exciting. I love this kind of stuff. I'm not like the best at it, but I love this kind of stuff, and you guys can do it too. It just got a lot of watch YouTube videos, a lot of YouTube videos. They'll tell you how to do it. But you can watch how I do it. Now with Ubiquiti air fibers, you can get as much as 1.7 gigabit connection, but you got to cut that in half because that's combined upload and download, and you got both of those working. So let's just cut that in half. So 1.7, so what is that, like 800 megabits? So you can get 800 megabit upload and download. Right now our fiber connection that we pay for gives us 200 up, 200 down, 200 megabits up, 200 megabits down. That's what helps us supply this YouTube channel, because uploading gigabytes and I've uploaded probably 100 terabytes, well, easily 100 terabytes, hundreds of terabytes of data to YouTube and to whatnot, to my editor, that need a lot of bandwidth. It would take forever to do without that. So that's where that 100 to 200 megabit up and down work. Well, like I said earlier, we're not getting the full 100, 200 at our farmyard because the devices we have right now are old and they're limited to only like 100 some megabit each. The airFiber is going to change that. 1.7 gigabit. Oh yeah, so we'll get full bandwidth to all these homes. And I'm excited about that. There we got Legarm's truck here. And the pole, a saw, sawzall, and this thing. Guess we don't need this here. So there's nothing under the ground right here. I know that because I know that. Not sure how I know that, but I know that. So we'll punch the hole right in the center, or I don't care, on the corner, wherever. And I got the bit right there. It's time. Let's get this pole in the ground. Get this going. I left the blades at my house, so we're gonna have to roll this thing. Fortunately, I got the big battery, so we got lots of energy. So this Alltech digger derrick used to be a lineman rig. It's got the jaws on it to grab the pole and put it in place, and we've never really used it before. We've used the jaws, but never to pull the pole in, so this is gonna be a new experience. We'll see if this works. All right. Looks like a praying mantis. All right. He's got it. The end of that thing's not running very good. It's really slow. He's gonna crank the RPMs a little bit so we can get more pressure on it. It could just be low on pressure. Hang on a second, I got it. Go. Yeah, just keep going up. There it goes. All right, well, it's a little taller than, I don't know. It's probably actually good where it's at, to be honest. Quickly fabbed up a bracket to hold that airFiber on. So let's put a ladder up, climb up there, put this bracket on. Put the airFiber on. I'll roughly try to square it up with the direction by eyeballing it, putting a level on it and all that good stuff. Later on, I'll have to calibrate it to get it fine-tuned so they point directly at each other. But for now, we'll just get it up there, get it on the pole. And then I might, if I have daylight, it's dying fast, rig up some Cat 6 outside, our underground rated cable down the pole into the pump house and get it ready to plug into the router. This is what your airFiber 60 looks like. A couple pieces you got snapped together. Really simple to assemble. They've got adjustments on the back of here so you can change the angle as needed. So I'm gonna go throw this up there. And just so you know, I'm not sponsored by Ubiquiti. I wish I was, I'm not. I just really like their products because they work really good. Okay, it's up there. Let's drill a hole through the pump house. I'm gonna put the spool of underground Cat 6 inside there and I'll pull it out, we'll run it over, run it up the side of that. I'll make an end on it, plug it in, and then I'll staple this cord with some tie downs. Or staples, I should say, all the way down the pole, back to there, and then we'll leave that in there. And then the next step is to go to my house and do that end of it. Well, the only long bit I could find was broke off on the end to go through this 2x6 wall. So, it's gonna shake a little bit, but I think I'll still get it to work. Let's see, right here. Sound good, guys? Perfect, let's do it. Now I'm wrapping all the insulation inside the wall. Okay, I think I made it. I didn't bring any tape to fish my Cat 6 through. Uh-oh, well, let's see what I can do. Chances of me getting on the first try. That'd be something else. First try, right there. Oh yeah, we're on a roll. Now before we get too carried away, gotta put an end on it. I think I got it set up. Got my cheat codes right there. That's the combinations you got to do for the colors. Make sure you get those right. These aren't grounded ends. I probably should be putting grounded ends on these. There's not a lot of electromagnetic interference in this area, so, and if it's struck by lightning, it's done anyways. So I just left the ground off, or the shielded grounded wire. So that's fine, whatever. This is grounded cable, but it's all good. And this device, these Ubiquiti devices are called PoE. That's power over Ethernet. This is an Ethernet cable. So what that means is, you don't have to run a power cord. the power is through the Ethernet cord, which is, it goes quite a ways. I think you can get like, I don't know, it's like I think sometimes up to 100 feet depending on the quality of your cable. So yeah, you can get quite a bit. So we're gonna put the power inside the pump house, and this is gonna power the device as well as send all that fancy dancy data through it, which you guys get to see because this is where your videos are gonna be coming from, is right here. All social media is gonna be ran right through that little guy right there. It's running off the pole. It's an old power pole, but you know what? We're giving it a second life. So here we go. Okay, put it through there. There we go. All right, second piece of the puzzle. Let's go. Oh yeah. Pretty easy to put together. Take the horn, click it in, like that. Get the cross braces, or 2 of them. Bam. Let's make a bracket to hang that Ubiquiti. All right, at the house site, still in construction as you can see. No idea when this video is gonna get to you guys, so it's probably either done or mostly done, or hopefully more done than it is now. I'm up on top of the hill, the little tiny hill that I built the house on, and I can barely see way down there by those cell towers. I don't know if you guys can even see it. The pole that we just put up with the Airfiber 60 on it. So this one is going up there. I was gonna put it at the peak, but I decided, you know, for easier access, instead of having to put up a ladder every time I got to service it, I'm gonna put it next to the window over there. It's not gonna be a square like I like, but it'll have nice line of sight to the pump house, which will give me that P2P connection, and then I can just open the window and reach over and unplug it, reset it, do all that stuff. Way simpler. So this one's going on there. That's gonna get the fiber connection to my house, and then I got another one of these that's gonna take it from this side of the house. Gonna have to put it up there somewhere, not terribly high. And that's gonna take it over to the farmyard, which is over there, and that's gonna be the new connection. I don't put these close together. I know there's gonna be some crosstalk, or sure I'd say some interference. When you get interference, your quality goes down, you've got packets that are lost, and your latency goes up, and we don't want that. So I try to put them on opposite ends of the house or buildings, just to try to give some space between the two, so they hopefully don't talk to each other as much as they do, because there's a lot of radio waves that are being pumped out by these things. So we'll see what that does, but on the bright side, I'll know which one's down if one quits, because, well, that's the side that's not going to be talking. All right, well, everything went really smooth except for this one connector. I don't know. I couldn't get it. I finally had to pull out my good ones, which are these grounded ones. They're just, I don't know why I didn't do those from the beginning. I got those. But anyways, I put a box in the wall here. This is the outdoor cable, which runs out to the Airfiber 60. This one runs all the way up to down in the basement, which is way back there where all the brains are gonna be. So I'll have this so I can put a cover on it. That way down the road, if I need to access any of this, I can pull the cover off and get both cables and attach them. So, but this will all be eventually sheetrocked. We're not gonna finish this room for a while just because we're gonna focus on the rest of the house. So, but future thinking, hopefully it pays off. Down in my mechanical room. So this is networking in my house. Some of these are security camera cables. What are these ones? These ones are doorbell, so odds and ends, but nope, I just lost it. Here's my fiber cable. I call it the fiber, it's not really. Plug it into the PoE port, it's red with a little lightning bolt. That means that's the powered end. So now there's power flowing through that Cat 6. Let's go back to the Airfiber 60 and let's plug that in and let's see if we can start configuring it. All right, let's put some power to the device. Plug this together here. All right, so it should be powering up. I've got my app open. It'll kick out a Wi-Fi network from the device, then I should be able to connect to it and then configure it from here. I'll get it just roughly set up, real basic, and then try to get the other one set up real basic, and I get them to talk together. And then I can start the job of fine-tuning everything. And then I got 2 more of these to do. All right, just found a new device. Uptime 36 seconds. Let's see, always connect, set up, connecting to AirFiber 60, login not supported, found device with firmware, blah, blah. I need to upgrade the firmware to connect to it. Oh. All right, I was able to connect through my web browser, not through the app. I'll have to wait till I get the firmware updated to use the app, but I was able to get it roughly configured. I set a static IP address. I was gonna say all these ways to set up these devices. That's something that there's a plentiful amount of YouTube videos out there to do, or to go to access to get that information. I'm not gonna go through all that because, well, it's gonna be a way too long a video. So I'll probably try to find some links, put in my description, and that way you guys can go to those in reference to how to set up the devices. But when it comes to the actual layout and devices to use, that's what I'm here for. So let's keep going. We're gonna go to device number 1. I'm calling this one AirFiber 60-2, because that's 2 in the system. AirFiber 60-1 is gonna be at the pump house. Then AirFiber 60-3 is gonna be here. AirFiber 60-4 is gonna be at the house, or the farmyard. So try to keep somewhat of an idea of where everything's at. And then I labeled, or set the static IP address in order too, so that way I will be able to remember which one to get it to, and I'm trying to access them from my computer to make sure everything's going okay. All right, let's go to the pump house. It's only like 2 miles from here. The old days when we had to set up Ubiquiti devices, they didn't kick out a network. You had to actually plug them into a computer, set them up, and then go set them up where you wanted them, and hope you had it set it up correctly. And if the link was established, then you could start configuring them from your home base or wherever you're at. But now that they kick out, a network, temporary, like 15-minute network, it pumps out, then you connect to any device that you've got Wi-Fi in the area, and it's so much easier to set up. Thank you, Ubiquiti, for doing that. Oh, so much easier. All right, here we are. Let's fire it up. All right, I will make this look a lot better in here when I'm done, but let's go ahead and plug her in. Now, that device is gonna power up on top of that pole that we stuck in the ground. Let's see if I can connect it on my phone. All right, I do have it. It's just really weak, but let's just go ahead and connect to it anyways and get this set up. All right, new device found. So let's set it up. It's gonna probably say the same thing, needs firmware update. That's okay. I can get to it manually. So, it's working. The link is working. Look at that. It says excellent link. Excellent link. Right now we've got 1.35 gigabit. 100%, and the 2.85 kilometer distance between the two. Isn't that nuts? Sweet! I'm going to obviously be fine-tuning this, but it is talking to my house site, and that means, and I plugged the Ethernet into the router, that means, theoretically, I should have internet at the new house right now. Let's drive back. 2.5 miles back there. And then I got another device to plug in and we'll get a Wi-Fi network in the new house. Then I can start hooking up some stuff like smart thermostats, security systems, watch some YouTube videos. It's all part of the plan, guys. This has been a lot of years in the work. I'm pretty excited right now. I've been envisioning how to get internet, high-speed fiber internet to this farm for a long time without going across anyone else's property and being all on our own, and now it's happening. Oh, it's just all falling into place. Oh, it feels good. Just took a whole house to make it happen. It's worth it. So now that I have, hopefully, a network connection coming through that AirFiber 60 at the house, coming down to the mechanical room, I got myself a 20-port Ubiquiti switch with 8 PoE power Ethernet ports on it, so I can power like my other devices, such as this one. This is a UniFi AP access point. So this I'll put in the house, and this will provide the network in the house for everything to connect to Wi-Fi wise. I've got these scattered throughout the farm. This is the first time putting this one in here, so let's pull this one out. One thing nice about being in-house, all Ubiquiti stuff, is then the management software is really convenient to use. So this guy's gonna go on top of the ceiling somewhere. I have a place for it upstairs. We're gonna go ahead and go plug it in now. Now I've got power to this. I've got my Cat 6 that runs to where the UniFi AP will be. So technically, there should be power available there as soon as I plug this in. Let's go find out. All right, this is gonna be the pantry. I'm gonna hide this device inside this room. Up on the ceiling, it'll be up here somewhere. Everything's cold in here, so it's stiff. There we go. Oh, you see that? Look. Oh, we got power. So that's good. Now is it getting a signal? Let's open up our app and find out. So the devices have a QR code on the back. You can scan them with the app. It says it's connecting right now. We'll see what happens here. I'm kind of a nerd. This stuff gets me. A little bit of fiddling. Got that one working. So now we have Wi-Fi in the house, which is awesome. So I can start getting the smart thermostats installed, as well as maybe a camera or two, so I can keep tabs in the mechanical room while it's running while I'm not here, just because you never know if something might start leaking. That's good. So now, last thing to do, I got to do the second link from this house to the farmyard with the rest of the air fibers. If I get all that set up today, we'll be in business, and I can switch the internet from the old direction to the new direction. And I'm better get on it because it's supposed to blow up to 50 miles an hour today. So I don't really want to be on a roof in that wind. So I want to get it done while it's calm. All right, took a little bit of finessing, but AirFiber 60-3 is now up and running. I got it configured, I got it set up, and I've got it roughly pointed at the shop over there. I'll show you guys how I fine tune those things, how we align them just perfectly. It's actually a pretty fun and easy process, but it is, oh man, like a hair. I mean, if you think about it, what do they call it, the arm? So like, if I'm here and I move my hand that much, a mile from here, that just threw that distance by like a quarter mile. Maybe not that much, I don't know. 500 yards, something like that. What is that, close to a quarter mile? Probably. Anyways, so you gotta be really careful with your pinpointing to try to get that point-to-point link exactly. And it tells you, there's a tone, an audible tone, as well as a percentage that says if you're getting that link. But I've got this one set at minus 57 decibels, which is a really good number. They're talking great. And if you look, upstream and downstream is running at a solid 1.95 gigabits. That is awesome. So throughput, they're right on the money. That is beautiful. Okay, back to the farmyard. Let's get the last air fiber installed, get her fine-tuned, and swap the internet over to the new system. So that way, we retire the old one, and we actually start getting our full fiber bandwidth to the farmyard. It's exciting. The one thing I'm a little concerned about, there's a lot going on top of that shop. That's like my base for all the distribution of wireless signals to go to all the different buildings and outbuildings. Well, there's just so many devices on that. They all tie up certain parameters of the frequency available, and I'm a little worried when I throw all this air fiber on top there that it might start messing with some of the other systems. So there could be some fine tuning to try to get that dialed in. I might have to roll back the other devices so that they don't use as much, like say from 60 megahertz down to 40 or even 20 megahertz, which lowers your bandwidth quite a bit, so you don't get as much throughput, but you reduce the amount of frequency used, so you narrow that range down, which then opens up more range for the more important devices like the air fiber. We'll find out in a minute here. Well, we just jumped ahead in the future. As you can see, things have changed a little bit. I tried to get it all done that night when I was last in the video, and it got cold. I ran into some problems. Night came, and then it dropped below zero to negative 30 for about a week and a half with snow everywhere. We're finally out of that. But I wanted to show, I did get it done. So I decided instead to move the AirFiber 60 to here. There used to be a light to shine over our front driveway there. We've got a different light there now, so we don't need that anymore. That pole worked out perfect. That way I don't have to build a new bracket up there, and plus it gives some space between the nano beams and this air fiber, just so they're not like pointing right at each other. This air fiber is dialed in directly to my house over there, and then the other link goes over to the pump house, like I've shown probably a million times. And right now I've got it sitting at about a 90 to 95% signal strength, which is amazing. They're both holding 1.95 gigabit connection consistently. I've seen them drop below 90% signal once in a while, probably the wind blowing or whatever. It's amazing, these things. They're pretty fine-tuned. I mean, you just barely turn them and they drop the signal. So they are very fine-tuned, and that's what gives us that amazing link quality, is we're not blowing signal all over the map in all directions. It's just pinpointed, bam, right at the house. So I am just tickled pink because the network now is significantly better than it was. And my plan of putting our NAS, our Synology NAS server inside my house in a special room that's fireproof will now have gigabit connections to all the locations. So now we can send our files back and forth on the farm, as well as be ready for whatever comes down the pipeline as far as fiber. Right now we're running 200 up, 200 down megabit, so that'll get to everybody distributed. But if someday it gets to 500 down, 500 up, or even 1 down, 1 up, we'll have the link to maintain that data. And by then, there'll probably be something newer out that'll make this AirFiber 60 obsolete. Let's go take a look at some of the settings. I'll show you what I've got. On a side note, a little embarrassed, but I've been looking for this. It's like, I know we had 2 of these. Where has that thing been? Blaming everybody else. You know what? I left it up here. Yeah, it's been up here for 2 weeks. Went through the cold, went through the snow, melted snow. But guess what? Still works. All right. Found it. Don't tell anyone else that. Don't tell the guys. They don't need to know this. Between us. Secret. So I just put this on the computer, just pulled up the first AirFiber 1, and you can see the topography of the land here. It's pretty cool. So it says 1.78 mile link. Right now we're connected to one of the 2. Link potential. Let's see, where are we at? Overview. So yeah, we're at 98.5% efficiency or potential, link potential, that link. So we're easily hitting that 1.95 gigabit connection, which is beautiful. Now our other link is a little lower. I've noticed that one of the devices, the signal dropped off. We had some wind, so maybe the device moved a little bit. So I might have to go up there and just configure it, try to square it a little tighter and get that link. So there's the 2 points right there. There's my house right there. And over here is the shop right here. So that's that link. So it's only running at 1.5 gigabit, 83.5% potential link. So that can be fine-tuned. We'll improve upon that. So anyways, let's do a speed test and see what kind of speeds we get here. Good old-fashioned speedtest.net. Use that a lot. There's other ones out there, but... And what are we pulling in at the shop? Oh yeah, easily 200. They're giving us more than we need. Look at that, 250. Only paying for 200. I love when they do that. So we're getting about 240, 250 down with 9 millisecond latency, and looks like a solid 200 up, which is beautiful. There we go. Not shabby at all. There, that's nice. I'm glad to have that done. Like I said earlier in the video, I'll put a couple links down below in the description, and all you gotta do is just search anywhere on YouTube for like Ubiquiti how-tos, how to set up nano beams, how to set up AirFibers. It's there. There's guys way more skilled than I am that can walk you through the process on how to get that all set up. This is not exactly where I want it yet. I'm still fine-tuning things, but I think we're gonna get there. In my house, I'm gonna get a patch system set up with a server rack and everything. It's gonna be really nice, so that way I can configure this stuff better down the road. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. God bless, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.